What?
Talk.
Hello, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Z Garcia.
I'm Mike Delisio.
Welcome to Board Game Smorgasbord, which until I was 18, I thought was the only word for buffet.
Oh, really?
I grew up in Pennsylvania, so we just called everything smorgasbord that we went to.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah.
a word I've used it more in the last week than the rest of my life put together, really.
Growing up, we went to a smorgasbord relatively regularly called the Swedish Table in Pasadena, California.
Represent. It is straight up a buffet.
It is.
The thing we went to,
You mean a buffet?
Well, I don't
Kenny
know.
says.
Phoebe buffet.
Kenny
is
says buffet.
When you go to a buffet, usually you pay one price and then you have access to everything. The smorgasbord we went to, it was individual items and you paid for each of the individual items. I wonder if that's a difference.
That's not the way it was in Pennsylvania.
Well, you do your
Well,
smorgasbord
we've been to
your
something
way.
like that when we were up in Indy, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was at the deli.
You call that a smorgasbord?
No, that was a deli. That was Shapiro's Deli.
It's the same deal. You pick things as you go down the line, and then
you
you pay.
pay
The
for
thing we
those,
went
yeah.
to in Pennsylvania when we drove for an hour.
I remember that.
Sure.
That was
That's
a
a
smorgasbord.
smorgasbord.
That's a smorgasbord.
Yes. Shady Maple, represent. All right.
Yeah. I love
Well,
this representation.
everyone call out your favorite smorgasbords in the comments.
Represent.
All right, so if you're confused, this is a new show on the Dice Tower. It is kind of a redone slight version of our Board Game Breakfast, but now Board Game Breakfast will just be on Monday. Smorgasbord will be on Thursday. We'll start this off with a contest. This episode of Smorgasbord is sponsored by Bezier Games. They publish, well, a couple games, Sink or Swim, and Cat in a Box. In fact, Cat in a Box was really
Whoa.
popular at Essen Spiel.
That
Very
was,
hot.
That was very hot.
Hot, hot, hot.
Sink or Swim's a co-op game where you're diving in a race against the clock to sink up as fast as possible. I would die because I am not a good swimmer. I'm an okay swimmer at best. I hope I never fall in the ocean.
Really? I didn't
I
know
can
you
tread
weren't a
water
film
for
swimmer.
like maybe 20 minutes, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't want to. I think I'm a strong swimmer. I still don't want to be alone in the ocean. You know what I mean? At least not out deep.
When I saw the end of the Perfect Storm, I was like, that's such a scary. For me,
Yeah.
that's like the scariest thing to be
That's
in.
pretty
That's
terrifying.
pretty. Yeah.
Anyway, we have a contest from them, and this is for another game from Bezier called Where Words Deluxe. This is one copy. It's for folks in the U.S., and all you need to do to enter this contest is to email us at contest@dicetower.com, as indicated by the very bright letters at the bottom of the screen. In the subject line, put upbeat. That's when people are happy. They're upbeat.
Oh.
Feeling pretty upbeat this morning.
And you have to answer this question, though. What well-known American game show assistant is one of the characters in Where Words inspired by? I'll give you a clue. There's not too many well-known American game show assistants. In fact, if you asked me, I would only know.
I could think of two.
You can only think of one.
One of them.
I'm not gonna say it.
One of them very much ages me more than my appearance already does, and the other one is
that
the only
possible?
one I can think of. Maybe not. Maybe not.
I
Okay.
don't think so. You could literally say right now you knew the OG Ford, and I'd be like, oh, I didn't realize you were that young.
All right. Well, folks, before we get to the news, board game news of the week, we got something exciting to announce here, and I'm going to let Mr. Brian Drake announce it. So here he is.
He's a magician.
All right, so we are so excited about this next announcement because two questions. Number one, how can we support the Dice Tower throughout the year? Maybe January's not a great month for you. Maybe you missed the Kickstarter, all this sort of stuff. Maybe you can't make it out to an event, but you would love to show how much you love the Dice Tower. Because let me just tell you, I love the Dice Tower. I'm so much a big fan. Yes, I'm a part of the Dice Tower, but I loved it before I became a part of the Dice Tower. It's why I wanted to join it, because it's the best board game community. The Dice Tower has helped me rekindle and meet so many amazing friends, and just it's a wonderful place. So Tom and I have been cooking up this idea for a while. The second question is, where can we get some Dice Tower merch? And that is why we are announcing today the official opening of the Dice Tower merch store next Thursday, 1 week from today. We have got shirts. We've got 4 different shirts to start with. We're going to have all sorts of stuff constantly coming. Every month there will be new merch, quite possibly. And you get to take part in that. So not only can you score yourself some amazing, fantastically high-quality merch with the Dice Tower logos, Dice Tower, all that sort of stuff, to show people how much you love gaming, but that the Dice Tower is the best board gaming community there is, you also can show it off in an amazing way that helps support the Dice Tower. So, with that in mind, I'm going to show you some of the items today of the Dice Tower merch store. Now, I'm going to show you the four shirts for sure, and I'm going to put a poll up. Let me know which one's your favorite in the comments, in the poll, and all that sort of stuff, and let me know what kind of merch you would like to see in the comments below. We have been so excited. We've been product testing. We've been trying to find the best things to make sure that the shirts you get are fantastically fitting and comfortable, but they also look amazing as you rep the Dice Tower. There's hats, there's tumblers, there's mugs, there's bags, there's some amazing stuff, and this is just the beginning because new items will be rolling out all the time. So we are so excited to officially open in 1 week's time, this coming Thursday, the Dice Tower merch store. Cannot wait for you to do it. In fact, if you want to pre-order, if you want to talk to me about it and go ahead and get your ideas and orders ready, go ahead and shoot me an email at brian@dicetower.com. I cannot wait to take this crazy merch journey together. So, if you've been wanting to support the Dice Tower throughout the year and you've been wanting to wear some amazing Dice Tower merch, that time has arrived. Next Thursday, the Dice Tower merch store opens at dicetowerstore.com. I'll say it again, it's dicetowerstore.com. We cannot wait to open the store. We will see you next Thursday. Shoot me an email if you have any questions. Cannot wait for this. So, let's play some games.
All right. Well, thanks, Brian. I'm excited about this. We've been, like you said, we're working on it for a while, and we have even more up for shirts that are coming. So what we need to know is, like, who's interested in what.
Right.
And the more you let us in the comments, because, like, for example, I might have to order a whole pile of T-shirts. I don't want to order a pile of T-shirts no one wants.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Very
a
good.
Donkey Juice shirt. We'll get that eventually.
That's like a deep cut.
I can see that. I can see
It's like
that.
a hidden website you go to. That's the hidden link store.
It'll be like a like a Rick roll, but it's a donkey roll.
I like that. Yes. Donkey Juice. That's a
Anyway, that website will be
Limited
live
edition.
next Thursday. So
That is exciting. That looks good. I don't know that I can be quite as excited as Brian can. I don't know if anyone can be, but that looked really good. I was happy with what they looked like.
looks great.
Alrighty, folks, here we go. We're going to start with the news. This week, first of all, I know you've been asking for it. I know you've been begging for it. Yellow and Yancy is back. Mm-hmm. This is from
Phalanx.
Phalanx.
Yeah.
It's called Huang now. This game. Okay, so Tigers and Euphrates, when it came out in 1998, was very popular.
Yes,
it was
big
number 2 on Board Game Geek for a while. It was one of the first online games you could play. Everyone loved playing it.
Yeah.
Yell and Yangtze finally rebrands this game with hexes instead of squares. Some rules changes, but it's very similar. If you like one, you'll like the other. If you don't like one, you won't like the other.
Right.
That being said, it kind of came and dud it.
Well,
No one played it. Or what do you think it was a bad?
I think that it was a bit hampered by the issue with the designer and the publisher.
Yeah, there was some
there were some
friction
issues
there.
with the Grail games.
That's right. I forgot about
I
that.
think that was the bigger issue because.
But I still don't think. I mean, I have it in the library.
Right.
I don't have people playing Tigers and Euphrates.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a game that I think has very high esteem, but I don't know that a lot of people are playing it.
Is this the cover?
Yeah, I don't know if it looks like a slipcase, doesn't it? But I'm assuming that's the cover.
I'm assuming that
look like
that
a
Chinese.
slipcase,
That's Chinese for Huang.
I would imagine. Yeah.
I like that cover actually. I think it's
kinda
really
do. It's
cool.
very elegant.
I'll quick add it to today's top 20.
I would like it. I would like if that was a slipcase though, and there was
Yes.
some more on the normal box cover.
They have also added a few things. Like I think these minis. I don't mean the building minis. I mean the character minis. I think that those add little. I think they added a couple of little mechanical things to this.
I think
edition of
those
the
are
game.
just the leaders. I think.
I think you may be right. Yeah.
That works. The
Were
leaders
they
were just
miniatures
discs.
in Yellow and Yancy?
Y'all
No,
know
they
see
were discs.
Yeah, they were discs. Although I think that the buildings were still.
The buildings, yeah, but
were minis.
even back in the day, the
Right.
original Tigers and Euphrates, they were like little wooden pagodas, but it was still discs for leaders. I could live with miniatures as leaders. They're easy
Yeah.
to see on the board.
Yeah, yeah.
Although I don't know. The one thing I don't like about this picture is I don't know whose miniature is whose, because the base of the miniature is not the color of the player. It's the color of that leader that matters for the control. So I'm sure all your
You're
leaders
right,
are the same model, but
Right.
if they're all gray, I actually like that less.
That's
a good call.
I agree with that. That's an issue, I think.
All right, this was released at the Messe, Essen, I'm just going to say Essen. I'm sorry.
Just say Essen,
Dice Manor.
Spiel.
This is the newest Dice Tower Essentials game. So if you've played the Spiel des Jahres winner, Las Vegas, or just Vegas, right?
Las Vegas
it
is
was
right.
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas.
Yeah.
This is very similar to that. You're rolling dice, placing dice to control rooms, and then building a little tableau of rooms and running dice through that. Did you play this one?
I did play it. I
You
enjoyed
did
it.
not.
Played it yet? No.
Got to get on that manor.
Nobody will share it with me.
Obviously, I like this one a lot. That's why it's in the Dice Tower Essentials. And it's getting good buzz so far, so hopefully people will continue to buy it. Please buy it. All right. Then we have Railway Boom, which I had to look at the text because that title is bad. I can read that's railway because I assume it's railway, but that IL is hard to read.
It is tough, yeah.
I don't know. I'm not having a hard time with that now that I see it. Railway Boom with the title in Korean and within it, or Japanese maybe.
It's Japanese.
Akazu is Japanese, yeah.
That's a cool looking board. I mean, it looks a little sort of, the typical train game hexes and all of that.
Actually,
jazz.
no, it is.
From the quick look at the board, I mean.
This game is different than others because it's not.
I don't know.
It's a heavy train game. 4 resources, 500 components.
How many X's?
It
4
is-
X's?
It is.
1 X. Expand.
Shut up.
Okay.
Here's the thing. I have zero interest in this. Unfortunately, because I think that this name. Well, the name is okay. Railway Boom's okay. I don't like that font, but the name is fine.
Yeah.
But that board and everything they're showing, it looks. What's the catch? What's different from this than every other game?
I don't know. The designer, I think, is the one thing that may get people on board. It's Hiyashi Hisashi. Is that right?
Oh, actually, that does kind of bring me a little bit more on board.
I think that is going to be the thing that maybe draws people in. And a lot of people do like, Akazu brand games, that kind of
That designer's not known for big games.
No, he's not.
At all.
Right.
Like, it's the exact opposite, in fact.
But that's why I'm wondering, is it not as heavy as it looks?
Yeah.
It looks heavy, though.
It does.
I would be interested in playing this. Yeah.
If you ever want people to come up and talk to you at Essen,
Yes.
all you have to do is walk around with a brand new game under your arm. And that is what designer-publisher Frank West did.
Brilliant.
He
Didn't
walked
have
around
a
with this
booth?
under his arm, had
Yep.
no booth, but people be like, what is that game?
What is that? Yeah.
This is the sequel to Isle of Cats called Race to the Raft, where the cats now viciously fight each other together.
They're rushing to get to the
There's
raft,
not a ton of information on this yet.
There's a bit more. He's been doing some, like, I think, designer diary type things. There is, you can see pictures of the boards now, and there's it's trickling out,
Right.
before the campaign. I may have had a chance to play an early version of it, but I'll keep my thoughts to myself right now.
I may have
Look,
been in the room while it happened.
I may have tackled him in Hall 3 of Essen. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, it was earlier.
I like this. It says you need to get all the cats to rafts. You're like building walkways for them before the island burns up. And I'm thinking, but what if I don't?
Then you're a monster.
And you are a terrible,
Race to
terrible
the
human
jail.
being. Right.
No, I'm not. It's just inaction.
Yeah, but
You can't jail me for inaction. This ain't the finale of Seinfeld.
Yeah, you're a what was that called? There was some
The Good Samaritan.
the Good
Law.
Samaritan law. Yes, correct.
I would not let cats burn, especially these cats, because these
are-
cats look cool.
These are great cats. Yeah.
All right. Series. This is coming from Artipia.
ooh,
That's kind of a cool cover.
It is a cool
cool- that's
cover.
epic.
It is. Yeah. I'm not quite the space game fan that I know you and Roy are, but this is a nice looking cover. This has a.
Like, you don't like space as a theme?
I don't dislike it, but it's not going to be like, ooh, space game, I'm in. You know what I mean?
I'm not like that either anymore, though, because
Yeah.
there's so many bad
I
ones.
used to be more of a space, ooh, I'm in kind
Yeah.
of guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Now there are too many that are too similar.
Right.
Like the what's been put out has actually pushed me out of being
Right.
that sort of fan. Mm-hmm. This looks cool. It might be neat. I know Artipia has done a couple of space games I've liked in the past. It also looks very large. The scope of this image
Sure.
looks large. I don't know if the game will be large or not, but
This is the
we'll
only
see.
game this guy has designed.
Okay.
All right. So this is coming from Artipia Games. Everyone has colonized Ares, so the next planet is Ceres, which is one of
Okay.
the dwarf planets. And you're launching things, and it's going to be a crowd-funded.
Okay.
Says we'll have a strong demo presence at Essen, but I did not see it there. I did go
didn't.
by Artipia, but
This looks to be less about like space combat and more about like
colonization.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
okay with that. I mean,
Sure.
look at Terraforming Mars.
right.
All right. Itten has a new series called the Fun Brick series, of which 4 of these are amazing. Ninja Master, 3 Second Try, Stick Collection, and Judge Domino.
Have you played them?
No.
Okay.
He's just picking on Viking Seesaw. Come
Yeah.
on, Mike.
Viking Seesaw is fantastic.
Mike
So,
thinks Viking Seesaw is
Game
like
of
in
the
the
year.
top
game
10.
of the decade. So Itten is a Japanese publisher. They had a booth at Essen. It was very cool to go and
did
check
they?
that
It was
out.
a really cool looking booth, too.
Great. So this Fun Brick series is something that has been out in Japan. I want to say there are 7 titles, but they are going to be picking 5 of them that they're going to be putting in English because they're in Japanese now, the ones they have, and they're going to be putting them on Kickstarter. So these 5 titles, 2 of which are Reiner Knizia titles, are going to be going to Kickstarter soon. So if you are in an English-speaking region, you had to import them from Japan, which isn't cheap.
Right.
And so here's going to be a way to get them. They are silly party-style games. They're almost more like, I don't want to get, I know if I say this, you're going to like just elbow drop me, but they're almost more like art, you know what I mean? Playable art.
No.
You know what I
Actually,
mean?
that's what Itten's known for. Their first game, or the game they're most well known for, Tokyo Highway.
Tokyo Highway. Yeah.
When you're done playing it, whether you like the game or not,
Right.
you're like, we built something.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
It's
You're
very
like-
much an art piece, almost
It
like
is.
an art installation
Right.
that you build and then take apart.
I will tell you though that Viking Seesaw have been played at every one of our events and it goes over very well.
You really like that game. No, I think it's a fine game.
Yeah.
I want to play that 3 Second Try game.
That I played a great game of that with Eric and a couple of other lovely Dice Tower attendees. We had a great time with it. It's a good little party game.
Alrighty. All right. I really dislike this nonsense. All right, Quickety Pickety. So this is what I told Mike today.
Yes, you got
if
very
Quickety
angry.
Pickety was made by Game Right or any other company, people would be
Yeah.
like, whatever. But because it has the word oink on it, people are like, ah! That's
I
so
agree with
annoying.
that 100%, actually.
It is people
Yeah.
support the publisher almost more than the games. I agree with you.
Oink has like this weird cult following. They've made some great games.
Right.
But they've also made some terrible games.
They
There's
have.
got to be perception here. I don't know if this one's bad or not,
Yeah.
but I'm telling you, I would not buy it based on this cover. That looks like a pear with a plunger for a dynamite in the top of it.
This was the one new title they brought to Essen, and I think that's why it got attention because they had a couple of new ones at Gen Con. This wasn't at Gen Con, but this was the only new title at Essen. I did pick it up. It looks
did?
to be it's a speed.
It's a slapstick tile flipping game.
Yes,
You're
it's
in.
it's a speed game where you're trying to create sets, but you can't have the same facial expressions. So you have this whole thing of, you want another pair, but it has to be a different facial expression, and everyone else is trying to do it at the same
And you
time.
slap things when you
don't
find
really slap it; you just grab.
But
them.
that's literally, there are like 20 kids games that do
It
the
is
same
a
sort of thing.
Yeah, this is a super silly party game.
and you bought this.
Well, no, the publisher gave me a copy.
Okay.
Ooh, that's twice now. I told you, Mike. Everyone loves Mike now. All right, next one.
I can't win. I'm quickety
I
pickety.
loved Mike before it was cool.
All right. Grease Monkey Garage. So this is a theme that actually is very rarely in board games for some reason.
I really
You know-
like that cover.
For as many people who like to tinker with cars, I mean, it's like in every movie, the guy has a car in his garage he's working on.
Right.
This is
That's cool. I like
a
that
print and
look.
play game actually from
Oh,
no,
it was, yeah.
It was a print and play in 2017.
Okay.
And so now Board Game Circus is bringing this. It's coming in 2023.
The one thing I'm a little confused by is that, they've got some parodies thing here. You got
Yeah.
Tex-Ico instead of Tex-Uco. You've got, is
Hell
that well
instead
or
of
hell?
hell instead of shell.
Yeah. And then you've got STP.
STP is actually
which is
what it is.
Definitely STP.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I saw actually the first one I saw with STP, and I'm like, oh, they got brands
Yeah.
to jump on this. But then I'm looking around going, Texaco?
Could it be that STP is no longer in business, whereas Texaco and Shell is?
Possibly.
I wonder if that's what it is. Anyway, I think it's a cool looking cover, and I agree with you. I think it's a neat theme. I can only think of a couple of games, that were kind of based around like mechanics, car mechanics stuff. So
Yeah, I like that stuff. That's very neat.
it's a nice logo too. I really think that's a sharp looking cover.
All right, Flow War. How do you pronounce that?
Flower or Flow War. I think you can. It's obviously
I
a
actually
play off of
talked,
flower.
I
You did.
talked to these people at Essen, and I was asking them that very thing. Like Flowar. They were like, yeah, either one. They're a Spanish company, so they were like, yeah, we just thought the play on words with flower and war would work. It's kind of hard to pronounce.
It is. I would probably lean Flowar.
Flowar, yeah, because flower.
Well, that way
no one thinks of it spelled that way.
Right.
That way you can at least, differentiate.
Right.
I think there is probably a game called Flower.
Probably.
I'm sure. But these are the designers of Red Cathedral, and so I think that they are a hot design team right now. And the booth was very busy. This sold out at Essen, I believe, relatively quickly.
Yeah, I believe so.
So people are intrigued.
Mike says we got a copy of this.
Didn't we not get a copy? We did.
Then,
it's in your luggage.
It's in the missing suitcase.
There you go.
I'm starting to get more worried about that. It's been 60 hours.
They fell all over themselves for Z. If you think I'm well loved, they literally rolled out a red carpet. They went behind the booth, got a red carpet, cleared people out of the way, and rolled it out. Am I right?
He's not lying.
Right.
All right.
They love Z.
He's lying.
All right, so that's a pretty nice looking cover. Let's look at the next one.
Oh.
Welcome back to 1993.
From
Texas
Sublime
and Pacific.
to the Rio Grande. Yeah.
Again, this is another one.
It's
This is
an
from John Bauer, so it's one of Bauer Games' thing, and this feels like they're just reprinting it.
It was a
John
Winsome
Bauer
game, right? That they're just
If
reprinting.
it's John Bauer, it's a
Yeah.
Winsome game.
Yeah.
He owned that. It came out in 2010.
Right.
So,
Okay. So heavy train game.
yeah. But hey, if you like that sort of thing, it's coming.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, I'm actually excited about this next one. A new game from Emerson Matsuuchi and Pandasaurus. They're going to steal your heart in, like 8 days.
Wow. Okay, I better
So
get
be
prepared.
prepared. So this
This is
is
2023, so.
in 372 days.
Yeah. It'll be a while.
Yeah, wow. This is an early announcement, man.
Z's bringing a dash cold water on me.
Right.
I'm
Okay,
like, ooh,
calm
very
down.
soon. All right, anyway, this is based on a franchise called, it's a Persona video game
Persona
franchise.
5, yeah.
I know nothing about this.
Oh, really?
Do you?
You've never heard of these? Yeah,
I'm
I've
really
played some of
lower
these.
on the video game side of
Okay.
things.
Yeah, this is an RPG series in which it's one of those that during the day you represent, or you are playing as a kid going to a school doing typical school things, a very, very Japanese
So it's JRPG?
genre.
Okay.
Yeah, JRPG. And then at night, you have powers and you go into the mind of someone and you go up this tower and fight things. It's very, very obtuse, very weird series. Also extremely highly regarded series.
You've sold me on it, though. That
Yeah,
does
it sounds
sound interesting, actually.
So it's a game that's got a lot of iterations. It's like I said, the kind of series that when they come out with a new one, it gets like 95% approval on on review aggregates and
You don't
things
know
like
offhand who the publisher is of it, do you? It's not like Square Enix or anything
that.
like
It's
that.
not Square Enix.
Okay, all
but
right.
I don't know. I don't know who. I don't think it's Square Enix anyway.
All right.
Well, anyway,
I'm interested.
this is a good combo. Pandasaurus and Emerson. This is based on Persona 5 Royal, which I guess is the newest game in this series. It's a cooperative card game.
Okay.
And you'll get to take on the roles of your favorite phantom thieves. Utilize the Velvet Room, infiltrate palaces. I'm just saying stuff. I don't know what any of this means. So,
The one thing you can probably rest assured on is that if it's Emerson designing it, it's going to be a clean rule set. And that's one thing that makes me excited, right? It's like you're not going to have a lot of extraneous stuff. You're going to get in there and get going.
And Pandasaurus has been putting out gorgeous looking
They
games.
really have.
Absolutely stunning looking games.
Atlas, our fans say. Atlas.
Oh, okay.
That's ATLUS
I am familiar with them.
/
so.
Sega.
Okay. Cool.
Alrighty. So I just reviewed the Castle of Mad King Ludwig Giant Edition, and they were like, nah, have some more.
Yep.
So Renovations is coming out.
Oh, wow.
I'm not sure I'm supposed to fit that in that box.
Yeah.
But this is a new expansion, and they said if you bought the Colossal Edition, which I still think you're crazy to buy, because I don't know how you're fitting that on the table, there will be a Colossal version of this. This is coming to Kickstarter, and it will have a second edition of the base game.
So it's basically a reprint of
Interesting. Yeah, this is launching on November 1st, so
Wow. Well, it
we'll
must
talk
have done
more about
well.
it on crowd surfing.
All right.
This next one has me slightly, hopefully interested.
Yeah.
Clue escape room games.
Huh.
That at least makes some sense, right? Thematic
Yes.
sense.
I've never heard of this before.
Yeah,
This
it's
is
brand new,
a
yeah.
brand new idea.
Hasbro.
I mean, again, immediately, as soon as you hear it, you go, Of course.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It suggests itself.
But
it makes
then I
sense.
hear the word Hasbro.
Sure.
And I'm very nervous.
Well, it probably is going for a much more kind of entry level, right? These aren't going to be the 5-dot difficulty, I wouldn't think. You know?
So also there was that Escape Room, the game, that was a mass market production.
That's true.
And that was good. Those were solid.
That is true.
Well, this sounds good. They have also announced some other Clue stuff.
Okay.
They're fully relaunching Clue in 2023.
Sure.
Who cares? But they're also going to, they said, the first ever global game of Clue, which will be played over social media. Be Still My Heart.
Wow.
Sounds terrible.
I want to TikTok my way through the
An ARG,
conservatory.
an alternate reality game, maybe?
What that means?
Yeah,
what
no,
I mean, like,
nah.
Also, the Clue movie's still coming.
Okay.
it's the year of Clue. 2023 is the year of Clue, then, huh?
That's or Cluedo, depending
Get a
upon
clue.
what part of the word
It's
you're
their
in.
tagline.
I like that. Okay, all right.
All right. Another expansion for Arkham Horror, the card game. Blah, blah, blah. See, why should I care?
Fortune
Fortune and Folly is has an interesting theme in which you are. It's not a theme they've tackled before. There's a casino that seems to have too good of odds. There's something happening there, and it turns out they have some supernatural thing that makes the odds, lean in their favor. And if somebody wins too much, something befalls them.
That's like Vegas. That's the way it really works.
Kind of,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm not seeing a difference
Where's
here.
the supernatural part, right? The house always
A
wins.
mysterious force breaks your knees.
Also, why would you play in this kind of casino, though?
Right, yeah.
I guess people don't know that. We as investigators know that, so we're breaking in there, finding this thing,
Well, that
actually
and
sounds
stealing
fun.
it. So it's very Ocean's 11-esque,
okay.
is what it
Kinda
sounds
like that, actually.
Yeah, it sounds
if
like
you do a
neat-
heist, that
yeah,
would
it's
be
like
awesome.
a heist type scenario. So
Is this a
Okay.
standalone?
this is standalone. There's 2 parts, so it's basically two chapters in there.
Okay.
Like a planning and preparation, and the actual heist itself. It sounds really neat. I like the theme. It's not a
Yeah.
theme they've tackled before. So yeah, I'm excited for it. I love it
Interesting.
whenever they come up with these standalone things.
All right.
All right, do you have a lot of money?
No.
Well, too bad. The Magic the Gathering 30th Anniversary Edition. Okay, so this is how this works.
That's a Black Lotus, isn't it?
That is a Black Lotus. So you can buy these sets or
Okay.
packs. There are 15 cards in a pack.
I got $20. Will that
There
do
are
it?
13 beta reprints in this pack.
Wow. Okay.
And they have retro things. And in fact, I think, if I'm understanding correctly, Roy, these are not tournament legal, right?
They're completely proxy.
Okay, so they're not tournament legal, but you could possibly get a reprint of a Black Lotus or the 9, the Power 9, the Power 9, and then these other original cards. Yay! I would buy that. Not for $999.
How many cards are you buying?
15. No, wait, I'm sorry. 4 15 card packs. So 60 cards.
For
So one-
$1,000.
So basically, you can buy a booster pack for $250.
That's correct.
That
That
are
is
not
not
tournament
tournament legal.
Wow.
Okay.
Let me just say one
Where
thing.
do I sign?
I don't want to alarm anybody. I'm not the target audience. No.
This feels manipulative. This feels like this is like the
Greedy?
closest to
I think the word you're
evil
looking for
by a
is
board
that,
game company,
like,
isn't
right,
it? Like
right.
it feels evil because you're not saying here's a deluxe product for $1,000 to buy. You're saying here you might get something
know.
for $1,000.
Right.
That's really manipulative.
This is.
And
They're going all in with the greed.
I like a
mean,
lot of things that Hasbro slash Wizards of the Coast have been doing lately with their sets. I think the Dungeons and Dragons set was fun.
That's some fun stuff.
The
Doctor
way
Who
they've been
or-
working hard to make it accessible to new players.
Yeah.
But they also do garbage like this. And
Yeah.
what
all
are
those
those?
secret drops, the secret layers.
The secret layers also are this way.
Come on, they're so predatory.
They
You know what I
really
mean? It's
are.
like, hey, look, we have this one, this one set for 4 cards. We'll sell it to you for $50. It's like,
Right.
it's so, I don't like that kind of behavior.
Let's say you're
It seems to
a
be
teenager
growing.
who's a big fan of Magic and you're working your minimum wage job
right,
and you
right.
see this. you'll be tempted to throw away your college savings on it. I don't like that.
It's feeding, unfortunately, into like the worst aspects of collecting and hobbying. Hobby collections. It's just not.
I agree.
It's still weird. I mean, again, I would still think it was bad if it was all tournament legal.
Right.
But the fact that it's not.
Well, like Roy says, you're buying proxies. You're
Right.
basically buying.
You could
a
print
nicer
a proxy, a nice
you're buying
proxy.
a
Right.
better printing of something you could print.
Right. Yeah, it's
Because you can't use it anywhere except at home in your own game.
Right.
Can't take it to anything.
right.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
All right. Let's get to exciting news. Cthulhu Death May Die Season 3.
That's what I'm talking about. More death, please.
Well,
Very
actually,
excited about this.
In
man.
better news,
Yeah.
this is arriving on my doorstep today.
What?
Tom, where you living at?
Let me make a quick phone call. Hello.
Okay, so no, but it's not actually. It's going to Kickstarter. But we have Z and Mike and Camille will be playing it next Friday.
Yeah,
so you can see how it
baby.
plays. I know nothing about the differences between this and the other ones. We're about to find out.
Sure.
Because they already did Season 2, which was just more stuff, right?
Correct. Yeah, it was
was.
more scenarios, more chapters
Right.
that you could. That came out when the first
In the
box came
part
out.
of the thing, yeah.
Part of that first Kickstarter, and yeah, it was just more. Yeah, more scenarios.
But it was not standalone, the second one, right?
It is not.
It's not.
You need
This
it.
one is standalone.
This one
Okay.
is, yeah, and
This
you
one
can
will be-
add it. One of the cool aspects of the game functionally is that it's got kind of this mix and match type of a thing. So you can mix a scenario with a a monster, a great old one of your choice, and this just gives you more stuff. You know what I mean? Which I'm happy about. And I guess this has been unavailable for a while, so this gives people a chance to get in on this again.
Yep, very exciting. I was not sure this would come to fruition.
Right.
More content for this game, so I'm very happy to see this
Me too.
come about.
This is a game that has risen in estimation for both of us, I think.
Very much so.
All right. This next piece of news really surprised me.
Yeah.
Not that Axis and Allies Rebel Rally Diplomacy are coming back in print, but they're not coming in print through Hasbro. They're coming in print through Renegade. So Renegade's been working with Hasbro, apparently, with like Power Rangers stuff. Mm-hmm. Now they're bringing back these classic games. Over the past few years, I've not been the biggest fan of what Renegade has done with stuff, but I like them better than Hasbro. Well, to be fair, I like every company better than Hasbro. But I'm like really anxious to see what their Robo Rally would look like, because they have the opportunity here. Come on, Renegade. You know what people have been saying about Robo Rally for years, right?
Yeah.
This is your chance to make a good Robo Rally. Do not put an 8-board map in the book unless you put a warning extremely long under it.
Right.
Give us good components. Take the best of all the Robo Rallies, put them together. Axis and Allies, do what you want. Diplomacy, just make a nice classic version. People will be happy. But also, it's not shown in this picture. This also includes Squad Leader.
Wow.
That kind of blows my mind. Bringing back Squad Leader.
Renegade will be a publisher for Squad Leader.
It's not ASL. That's why
Advanced
it's
not
the
Advanced
original
Squad Leader,
Squad
it's the
Leader,
OG Squad
which no
Leader.
one even plays because the
Right.
Squad Leader was like broken.
Yeah.
Advanced Squad Leader came out to kind of fix a lot of stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting idea. I mean, I immediately questioned, okay, is the idea behind this to give it some hobby game cred by putting a logo? Now, I'm assuming it's more than just a logo. I'm assuming there's going to be some development work and stuff, but is this going to be getting it to the people that maybe would have dismissed it if it was coming strictly from Hasbro? I don't know.
I don't know if... We are assuming a lot here.
Yeah,
We're assuming
for
that they
sure.
are taking these properties, these games, and reworking them and
Right.
developing them.
Right.
They might not be.
They may not.
This might be Axis and Allies with that cover and Renegade's logo in the corner.
Sure.
Why? I don't know, because Hasbro needed a little escape valve, and they're like, we can't, this is too much on our
Yeah, but
plate.
you know what's weird
You
about
guys
this?
do it.
All these properties are Avalon Hill properties.
Right.
Right.
Avalon Hill still exists, but Avalon Hill's doing other stuff. They're
Yeah.
working with the new Hero Quest and the Heroescape
Right.
and Yawning Portal and stuff
Right,
like that,
right.
and the new Risk Legacy. So it's kind of like they said
We're too busy.
no, but
for
like
these.
Avalon Hill is kind of like we're no longer
that's
that.
the old. This is the new
I do
stuff.
not look forward to having to explain the history of Avalon Hill to my grandson someday because it's so confusing.
Yeah.
Not my Avalon Hill, was some people are going to say. I don't
Right.
care. Anyway, I'm hopeful with this news.
Sure.
I don't know. There's
Also,
been
I
a
don't
lot
ca-
of Hasbro in the news today. I will
There
say
is,
that.
yeah, it's a very
You don't care
Hasbro
about.
heavy.
I mean, no one here is going to be playing Diplomacy.
I love Diplomacy.
And Axis and Allies probably not.
I love Axis and Allies.
But you do like Robo Rally.
I do actually like Robo Rally. I was lying about the last two.
All right. A couple more pieces of news. Britain's getting their own Gamma Expo type thing, the Game Industry Conference, which I don't hate that logo. That's a pretty good logo.
Not bad.
That's solid.
Yeah, no, it's good.
This is happening February 2023. It's a joint effort between UK Games Expo and All About Games Consulting. I don't know who that is.
I
My
don't.
favorite part is that the top of that pawn looks like Pac-Man.
Waka, waka, waka. Oh, it's eating the G.
Waka waka waka
You're
waka
right.
waka waka.
I can't
waka.
unsee that now.
Yeah, thanks, Z. Yeah, no, I mean, this is cool. I mean, I'm assuming this is specific to the UK, not all, you know.
I think so.
Yeah,
It's happening in Birmingham, so it's at that same convention center.
Right.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And our final piece of news, we're back to Asmodee.
Right.
Take your pick, Hasbro or Asmodee. Asmodee has a new thing called Welcome to Asmodee. That's where they
Welcome
eat
by
you.
Asmodee.
Welcome by Asmodee.
This really looks like what I did on the new thumbnails.
Does it?
The
A little bit.
Anyway,
you know what
this
I
is
mean?
working.
review thing I
Yeah,
did.
you're right. Yeah.
This is offering game publishers a personalized route to market solution, a one-stop shop. This is going to work with publishers to develop a customized solution for their distribution needs. Publishers can pitch their games online at welcome.asmodee.com. Now, I don't understand this all completely, but it sounds like
Money!
Asmodee doesn't own all the publishers,
Right.
but they would like to kind of own all the publishers.
Yeah.
We're like,
is
oh, we don't own
nuts.
you. Would you like to work through our distribution? Thank you. People who are buying games, we have everything.
Yeah, no, it's
Except Hasbro. No one cares about Hasbro.
all of your games are belong
Asmodee
to
definitely
us.
is positioning themselves as the biggest player in the industry.
Absolutely. And I mean,
Although Hachette and Studio H are like,
they're
they're common. We'll
I
see
think
what happens
Hachette,
there.
I think people don't realize how big of a company Hachette is.
Oh, if you went to
outside of
Essen, you realize how
games.
big that was.
Yeah,
They had
yeah.
half a hall 3.
Games is just a small part of what Hachette does, from what I
Really?
understand. I think
Yeah,
they're
I
like a big
that.
publishing house.
I like that competition.
You need
It is
that
weird that they're both
competition.
French.
Right.
Like, it almost seems like,
Well, but isn't
We welcome our
Asmodee,
new French overlord.
isn't Asmodee now owned by a Swedish?
is that right?
I don't know. It's so hard to keep track. That's when you get to
It's
this
so
level
weird,
of
like-
business. It's
15 years ago,
right.
if you had told me, oh, this company here that some people are calling a Smoddy,
Right.
with a little logo that is a demon. That's what Asmodee is, by the way. It's a little demon.
Yeah.
The logo was very different. It used to be a little demon. They're going to be the big player in the industry in about 10, 12 years.
Right.
I'd be like, no.
Yeah.
No. Look at they're like Rio Grande. If you tell me
Right,
Rio
right.
Grande might be it, I might believe you.
Yeah.
These guys, I don't think so.
Right.
To this, what they are now, they have just grown and gobbled up companies.
Yeah.
And like you're saying, another push to sort of dip their fingers and toes in everything.
They've become the shorthand for big business and board games.
Yeah.
You say Asmodee, it's shorthand now for like corporate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for doing it all.
Right,
Distribution and
Sure.
we'll
Vertical
do this.
integration and all
Yeah,
this
the
kind of
whole
stuff.
shebang, all the buzzwords.
Right. And there were a lot of buzzwords in what you were reading there, too.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, anyway, folks, that is the news. All right, top threes are, we do top tens, and in fact, we'll be doing a top 10 next week and stuff. But about board games, top threes are about whatever.
Right.
So today we're talking about our top 3 foods we ate in Germany, Essen Spiel, which we deliberately did not talk about yesterday.
Let's go. Foods.
I'm so excited.
All right, number 3, Mike.
Number 3 is going to be something that was a little bit divisive. It was divisive. Some of us were correct. Some of us were Tom Vassell. My number 3 is a delicious, delectable, moist, intriguing, saucy guava cake. guava cake that was actually, it was eaten in Essen, but it comes from Brazil.
That's right.
A lovely individual from Brazil brought the booth a lovely loaf of guava cake.
It's a roll.
It was a guava roll.
It's a thin layer of bready substance, some sort of cakey,
bready,
right? Very, very thin, miles long. I can only assume.
Right, with guava
with
paste.
then a thin layer of guava paste.
Roll.
And then you roll that for years until it becomes a log.
Then you let it sit for years.
This was moist.
It was perfectly
delicious.
Fresh.
You like this?
I did like it, but it might be a tropical thing.
To be fair,
I love guava.
To be fair, it's going to look like I'm the only person that didn't like it.
No,
that is not true.
You're the only person here who didn't like it.
The only person at the table
here
that didn't like it.
I actively dislike, because Mike was like raving about it, and I was like, I ate it, I was like, wait. Must have got a bad piece.
Yeah.
Nope.
No, Camilla didn't really like it either.
Chris didn't like it.
Chris was so-so. He didn't. He's like, he liked the first bite, maybe not the second. I could have eaten this whole thing myself. I did
agree.
not. To be fair,
I thought it was very good.
Yeah. So that's my number 3. It was also our team name for our live show, Guava Cake.
All right. Well, my number 3. I'm also going with a sweet dessert, and this was during one of our first days there. We were walking around. I guess it's downtown Essen.
No,
I'm not sure.
I know what this
I know
is.
what you're getting, yeah.
And they had something going on called the Festival of Lights.
Either the Festival of Lights or the Light Festival, something like that. Yeah.
They had a bunch of booths, little kiosks with food. One of the things I had was a churro. I wasn't expecting to go to Germany for a churro.
I think this is hilarious because it's sold everywhere here in Miami.
Yes.
That was filled. Yeah, but this was different. It was a large churro, larger than the ones you get here.
Yes.
With a hole, sort of a hot dog shaped hole in it. It was very large. And then they filled that with cream. Like you would find it inside an eclair.
Like a Boston cream.
You didn't tell me
a
this
Boston
part?
cream.
It was delicious.
This thing
I didn't eat it.
Insane, because the churro was nice and firm.
Well, why didn't you buy one and bring it the next day? It would have lasted overnight.
Nah.
I didn't realize you just mocked me for churros.
You're
man.
right.
You would have been like, a churro, you bought it, you're stupid. Something evil like that.
Yeah.
This thing was fantastic, and they were not like the ones you can get here. This was better than. That's my number 3.
All right, my number 3 was given to us as a gift, just like Mike's was. And I don't even remember what the name of it was, but it was basically green Jello.
Oh yeah, it was the.
I never had the green Jello. It was good.
Food of the gods or something like that. It was translated.
Someone's gonna tell us that it's a green flavor. There was also a flavor of one of the Slurpees there too.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Waldmeister or something like that?
Waldmeister, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was just cool. Waldmeister jelly was fine.
It was like in a Jello
I really
cup.
liked it.
Yeah, it was
Although
cool looking.
finding a spoon was like a bit of a chore, but I got one. I would have just been like.
I think the spoon came from the same package of where we got the guava cake. They gave us.
That's true. I used the spoon for a more proper
utensils
thing.
instead of wooden utensils.
All right, so Jello, Waldmeister Jello.
All right, my number 2 is also a sweet. They will not all be sweets, but my number 2.
Only one more, man.
That's true.
And I know your number 1 is so.
That's true. My number 2 was found in the Galleria, and it was a banana and Nutella crepe. This was so good.
I gotta tell you, Mike, I had a crepe also.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it. The one I had was not that flavor. It was more subtle. I should have probably gone with the tried and true.
It was so good. They sliced up. It was almost a full banana in there. Spooned out the Nutella, which you can get Nutella here in the States. It's becoming increasingly, available.
Very common.
But it was just a beautiful mixture, and it was so good. It was so good, and just kind of eating it, walking around, and loved it. Banana Nutella crepe out of the Galleria, my number 2. Delicious.
Is yours sweets?
No, it's not. I'm done with the sweets. My second one was a proper sit-down meal that we had. We went to it was a Mediterranean restaurant, if I'm not mistaken.
Arabesque, it was called.
Right, and my main course there, everything there was actually very tasty.
Too.
It was a very tasty meal. My main course was 2 skewers of shrimps, butterflied shrimp, beautifully done, with a little mound of sort of fried potatoes with some nice green sauce on there. I keep saying that one thing that they really do well in Germany, no matter where where the restaurant is from, if it's there, they know how to do potatoes.
They do.
They do it in many different ways, and they're always delicious.
Right.
These potatoes were fantastic. I think you had some of these.
They looked good.
This is also my number 2.
Oh, there you
Yeah.
go.
That was a really good
was
meal.
a good meal.
My shrimp or your own? This was fantastic. I really liked that, and the meal was very good as well. We had these little. It's like it's sort of a thing they do where they bring you 20 these little
All
dishes.
the little dips for your bread.
Right.
Yeah.
And
No, you could
have-
order as many as you want. They had 30 different ones, so I ordered 15.
You did like a mystery
They decide
thing, right?
which ones they bring you.
Yeah.
Right. It's like a
Yeah.
random thing.
Which is
And they
cool.
were all, I mean, I didn't love all of them, but I would say I liked at least 12 of them and loved like 5 of them.
Right.
They
Right.
were really, it was also just fun.
It was neat,
That was
yeah.
almost my number 2, actually, the appetizer.
Yeah, it's just neat to be like, ooh, what's that one? I'll try a little bit of that. Oh, that's good.
Right.
You done with that one? Let me try that one. Just, it's such a familial thing. It's so
Yeah.
fun.
In fact,
to
I
share.
kind of want to go back to that restaurant next year. That
I'm
was a pretty
down,
solid-
man. I had like chicken skewers, and they were so tender. I was almost concerned they were underdone, but they weren't. They were cooked perfectly.
Yeah, when I saw your I was like, oh, I ordered shrimp. It was the wrong thing. But
Yeah.
then the shrimp came, and I was like, nah, I'm good.
It's probably some of the most
was
tender
really-
chicken I've ever had.
Shrimp
so.
was pretty good.
All right, do we all have the same number 1?
Probably, and I
I
think a
don't.
lot of people.
I haven't had that.
Oh
so
yeah,
no.
you do, but you'll have something similar.
Okay, well, my number 1's the same as Mike's. then.
Yeah, so my number 1, well, I think a lot of people are thinking it's going to be the spiral potatoes, which it's not. They were lovely, but they've been built up to some ridiculous level that I don't think they ever could have lived up to what they've been up to. They were great. But my number 1 was so far above and beyond everything else, and I had some good food.
And I
it
agree.
was a doner kebab at the House der Doner, I think it was called, or something like that.
Yeah.
Right there in the little central area of Essen that we were staying. It was amazingly good. Just amazingly good. It was a doner kebab sandwich, and it was in something that a bread that was familiar yet slightly different. It was kind of like a pita but crustier, with some amazing sauces on there. There was garlic sauce and the incredible, the skewered meat, not the skewered, but the sliced meats off the spits. They had lamb and they had chicken, and both were delicious, with some red cabbage on there, and it was just.
See,
Every bite of it was perfect.
I eat a doner every day, usually at the fair, and
Yeah.
they're good. I really
the
enjoyed
ones
them.
at the actual
right
fair.
at the
They're
actual
okay,
Essen fair,
yeah.
and then people said,
That's it, House des Doners.
hey, they're not as good as real ones, and I was like, well, these are pretty solid.
Yeah.
And then, we had this, and I was like, oh.
And I talked them way up,
I
too.
don't normally get that way when someone says, here's the real thing, and usually I'm like, okay, it's slightly better. This was like 5 times better.
At least, yeah.
And I still could eat the ones in the hall, right?
Sure.
But I might take a trip downtown.
It is worth
During the day. I
it's
might
worth
take an hour off from Essen.
Yeah.
It feels like that's not a terrible thing to do.
Right.
Well, my number 1 is from the same place. I
Right.
just didn't have that. I'm not as big a meat eater.
Right.
So I wasn't going to take a risk on the lamb and not liking that.
Yeah.
I got a falafel wrap.
Yeah, which also
From the
looked
same
amazing.
place. It was spectacular. I like falafel. I don't frequently have it, but when I have it, I usually enjoy it. This one was very, very good. And again, like Mike is saying, the sauces, the garlic sauce, they have like 3 sauces they can spread on there. The veggies. They go ahead and fry the falafel, squish it in there, throw it in there, give you a nice built-up wrap. It was the perfect size. It was tasty, warm, delicious. I really, really enjoyed that. And then it was also in a very good setting. We were
Yes.
outside. It was nice and chilly out. And the warm falafel wrap
Warmth
was
of
just
the donors. Just
it just sort of emanated from it. So
Normally, our final
Fantastic.
meal of Essen, everybody is sitting there just exhausted and tired. This was the best final thing we've ever
I
done.
agree.
Everyone was laughing, having a good time. The whole atmosphere was good.
It was probably the
It was-
most actually awake I was, which was very odd. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was.
It was the best
Yeah.
ending we've had in a while,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
I agree.
That's our top 3 foods we had at Essen.
Hey everybody, for today's App Express, I'm going to be talking about Everdell, which was put out by Direwolf, and it is a fantastic app for a really, really fun game. So the idea here is you have a lot of different game modes, which I think is a big positive. You're going to have challenges, you're going to have solo play, you are going to have pass and play, where you can play with someone else locally, And then you've got the traditional solo play, Rugwarts Trials. And that's the one that you get in the box. If you buy physical Everdell, that's the solo they've got. Of course, on the app, you can play against AI characters that behaves like a multiplayer game as per usual. So I really like that there are that many different ways to handle the game. It's well implemented, it's well coded. I have not seen any glitches, any issues. It's got very pleasant music, and it uses the artwork that's in the game in really fun and engaging ways. Some of my favorite touches are whenever you grab a character, you're going to place a worker, you pick up your little critter, and it's as though you are pinching the back of his little vest, and he, wiggles around a little bit, and then you drop him where you want him to go, and he will take that action for you. I really like those kinds of touches. I think they add a lot of charm and interest and whimsy to this world. The things I didn't like, I think it's a little hard to look around the entire board unless you very much zoom out and you can see everything at once, but it's tiny at that point. And it is better to have a larger screen in which you can see everything. So I definitely would recommend an iPad, a larger iPad, or you're going to have to be bouncing around a lot on the screen, which is not always the smoothest or the easiest thing to do. But as far as content goes, as far as polish and quality here, superb showing here from Direwolf as usual. They're very good. So from me, Everdell, the app on iOS gets 2 thumbs up. Definitely check this one out.
All right, so my topic here for Backtalk came from some conversations I had at the World Series of Board Gaming.
Okay.
So at the World Series of Board Gaming, I saw high-level play of games. When I was watching Ticket to Ride, completely was like, oh yes, these people know what they're doing, all kinds of things. But one thing that shocked me was the Splendor play. So I played Splendor. You collect chips, you buy cards from level 1, then you afford the cards from level 2 and level 3.
Right.
Yes.
But the high-level players in Splendor skip and buy the level 3 cards first.
Okay.
Which I didn't even know you could do. But there's apparently some method where if you collect all the chips of one color and then get wilds and no one knows that you're doing this, then you can buy one of the higher level cards.
Okay.
And it's a way to kind of rush the end of the game.
Right.
And when the designers were presented with this, designers said, we didn't know this was possible.
Okay.
Type thing. Now this happens in games a lot.
It does.
My question is it okay to exploit a hole in the rules or something the designers did not intend to play the game? Let me give you a very specific example that we talked about at World Series Board Gaming, a game called Stone Age.
Yeah.
So in Stone Age, it's a game where you get workers. Every turn you send your workers out, you collect food and resources, use these resources to build buildings and buy cards. Those building cards are worth a lot of points. Every turn you need to feed all your people. It's an early Uwe Rosenberg thing. If you don't feed them, you lose 10 points. So someone came up with the idea of the starvation strategy,
Right.
where they get as many people as they can and they just never feed their people. They don't even try.
Right.
They lose 10 points every turn, but they're swimming with so many other resources that you crush the game.
Right.
That's legal according to the rules. But is it good?
I have a pretty strong opinion. I hate it. I hate everything about it. You're going to have people that'll push back, and I get it, and say,
right.
Well, play test your game better. This is if you don't have specifically in the rules, or if you haven't addressed this through play testing, then this is a problem with the game. Okay, sure, I get that, but I also know that I'm sorry, I don't want to play with people like that are looking for ways to exploit, find loopholes, break the games. I've actually said this before too, when I've talked to designers. I'm like, I'm never the guy that's going to find something broken in your game.
I agree, I'm not that either.
I never ever seem to find them because I'm never looking for them. You know what I mean? I feel like there are some people that almost find some joy in, I'm going to break this game. I'm going to find some weird way to twist things that are maybe not specifically taken out of the rules, but are certainly not within the spirit of the rules and not within the spirit of the game. How do you feel if you're at a table and you're one of 4 players and somebody has found something clearly busted, and now we've got to sit here and wait for you to, lord this over. I don't know. This really bothers me.
It also bothers me, it's like, for example, with the Stone Age, if you pull the starvation strategy, not only am I done playing that game with you, I will play no more games with you.
Right,
I feel that strongly about it. I don't care if, let's say you tried it out in the game, you had never heard of it.
Right.
And you're like, wait a minute, I have to feel it, and you try some weird thing.
Yeah.
But if you go in knowing that strategy, and someone in the comments said, how am I supposed to know what the designers intended? Because you do.
Yeah.
Okay? You know the designers intended you to feed your people every turn and not starve them to death, because it makes no thematic sense.
Right.
I guess I just don't understand why it would work. I would be okay if that strategy, if somebody tried that and their score sucked.
Right.
That's what I would expect from that. How can they win? What happened there? Like, that's a flaw on the game, I think.
No. But that's the thing, though.
Yeah.
In playtesting, and this happens all the time in Magic the Gathering, people find a card.
Sure.
And Magic the Gathering has very extensive playtesting, so what Magic the Gathering does is go ban, 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 ban.
Right,
they do that to stop this because players do it, especially because of competitive play.
Right.
And in competitive play, I almost feel like it's a different ball game. Like the people doing this stuff in Splendor, I was like, well, I guess that's how competitive play is. That's fine. But in normal play, I'm less interested in it.
Right.
Like if you find some flaw, like it, when I think of a video game when you did those fighting games and someone would use the same thing over and over and over again, they found some flaw where they could just keep punching you in a certain way and you couldn't stop it. I hate that and I don't want to play with you.
Right.
I agree with that. I don't like it. I don't want to play with that person, but I guess I put a lot of that those negative emotions on the game itself.
I put them all on the player.
I mean, you're telling me that in your game I'm supposed to feed the people, but if I don't, I might. That's a really, really solid way to win. That seems like a flaw on the game.
I think so, but the rules don't say that.
Right.
The rules don't say I have to feed them.
Right.
The rules say if I don't feed them, I lose 10 points. I expect those 10 points to cost me the game if I don't do it every time.
Yeah, it is.
How can I win? That's an issue.
It's obviously a flaw with the design, but I guess to some extent, there's also, I don't know, I've been around people that they go into games looking for ways to
looking
do that.
to break the game. That's not fun. I
don't
agree.
like that because then basically the other people around the table are pawns for you to find some broken thing in there.
I agree. I agree with that. It's not fun to be there for your experiment.
I would say, I kind of agree with you a little bit that if you are publishing a game, find these jerks and have them try to break your game.
Hire them to break your game. If your game is about, if one of the things we need to do, and you're penalizing me for, is feeding people, I should not be able to not feed them every turn and win. Like, it should literally be impossible for me to do that.
I agree with you there. I do feel like, there are some design flaws that, sometimes will get discovered and exploited, and you need to address that.
I feel this whole, it's not in the spirit of the game. Well, the original person who brings that spirit forth is the designer. If you're allowing this, you betrayed the spirit of the game.
All right, no, but I am not putting that, because sometimes stuff happens.
Right.
You play test the crap out of it, and it still can get through.
I know.
Magic the
then you
Gathering
got to put out
fixes it.
some errata or something. I get that, but
that's what I would do, right?
I don't know. I also, again, like the example I can think of, and it's a game I haven't played it this way, so I don't know whether it's true. But I'd heard in Radis, this is an old game, that you can play with a strategy where you don't take any of the player powers at all.
Right.
And you're more likely than not to win the game if you just play the game without taking any of the player powers. That is so clearly against the spirit of what that game is doing that I don't want to play the game that way.
Big money and dominion.
And if I know that I'm playing with somebody that knows that, and they're going to specifically not do that because they want to win more than they want to enjoy the experience of playing the game and the way it's meant to be played, then I'm not interested. Is that a flaw with the game? Yeah, it's a flaw with the game. But I still want to play the game because I like the game the way it's meant to be played. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
It's tricky. It's a game-to-game case, of course. But some games, I think the flaw is enough to put me off of the game, even if I do want to play it, and even if everybody agrees, let's not do the thing that we know can be done.
Right.
And you'll just out-and-out win. Let's not do it.
like the Halifax Hammer type of a thing, right? That's probably one of the most infamous broken strategies out
the
there.
Martin Wallace game,
A Few Acres of Snow.
Few Acres of Snow, right?
Right.
And again, I'm not smart enough ever to figure these things out.
No, I never would have found that. Never.
And at first I'm like, oh, that's clever. I just don't want to play with you if you are trying to exploit that. That's just not fun for me.
Yeah.
That's like with the guy, when you play some game in the house or whatever, and he's like, well, no one said I couldn't do this.
Right.
You're like, well.
Now, see, that's different. Whenever the rules specifically don't say you can do something and so somebody will do it. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
That's you're now assuming that anything the rules don't say you can't do, you're allowed to do.
Sure,
you
but
can't
I people all the time,
you can't shiv me in the middle of the game and then be like, well, the rules didn't say you could do that. Now
No,
I'm
I
winning.
understand that, but people will try something and I'll go, okay, well, the rules don't say you can do that. I guess according to the rules you can, but it seems against the spirit.
Right.
That's where I run into a problem. Every time
true.
I'm like, I don't think you should do that. Like, it might say, kill any unit on the board, and you're like, can I kill one of mine? Like, this is a good example. The original Summoner Wars. You could kill your own units.
Yeah.
Now, if you're like an evil character, maybe that would be like a special power. The good guys would never kill their own units. But because the rules specifically didn't say you couldn't, you could do that.
And that would help you somehow?
Yeah, you would get magic points and you could get like an early lead. Or your unit's almost dead. I'll take the magic point for it.
Right.
I hate that nonsense. I really do.
Okay.
So, nah.
Yeah, I guess I'm not as fired up about that as you guys are. I find that an issue with the players, certainly. It's an issue with the players. I put a lot of that on the design as well. And I get that it's very difficult, And I understand that a lot of it in Magic the Gathering, like you were saying, some of it gets through. Magic the Gathering has a billion cards interacting with one another. You should have been able to catch this in something like Stone Age.
Right.
There's not that much going on in Stone Age. I'm not a game designer, so maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like maybe you should have tried to never feed the people and see what kind of score you get. I expect it to be bottom of the tank. Otherwise, increase the penalty, make people feed them. I don't know.
Yeah,
figure it out. Put like one new line.
Yeah, but I never thought of that. Did you?
No, but I'm not a game designer. Anytime you tell people like
I'm
this step,
not a game designer.
That's true. This step, like you feed people. If you don't, lose 10 points.
Right.
Will somebody play and never feed them? Let's try that.
Yeah, I do think it's a good idea to, during play testing, try to play in a very odd...
Try to break your game.
Try to do something. And I think that should be part of
and
play
I actually told people that. I'm like, hey, try to break this game.
Try to break it. Find loopholes.
Like, Jason, play this game.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And there are certain players that are very good at that. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Well, if you're watching this later on, let us know in the comments what you think on this subject. And let us know what you think of the show as all. I'm sure this will be moving and changing and evolving as time goes by with more food, and we'll be just sitting here eating.
Ooh.
Hey, I'll tell you what, man. I'm all for that.
Well, anyhow, we're going to be back later today at 2 o'clock talking about the most beautiful board game covers of all time. You get to vote on this. These guys will just be like giving some thoughts on it.
Commentary.
You might break some ties.
Maybe.
You broke one tie last time.
Yeah.
You're hoping to break more?
I'd love to break some ties.
I'd love to get in on tie breaking.
Especially you're not wearing a tie.
That's because my ties...
This is not in the spirit of the rules.
My ties are in that piece of luggage.
All of them?
No.
Tom.
But all the... No, that's just my excuse for now.
Yeah.
All my shirts are.
Oh.
I need that piece of luggage.
You need some Dice Tower merch is what you need, Tom. You need to be wearing some of our new lovely T-shirts.
I agree. I want to be wearing that bag.
And we also, maybe you should look into branded ties.
Also,
I'm just saying.
good news. As we're doing this, I heard the carpet guys are here for the new studio.
Oh, yeah.
So the new studio, continuing to work on that. Once the carpet's in, then we start building it, which could take a couple months. But,
Yeah, good.
But
Yeah.
hey, we're seeing progress being made. So
fantastic.
this show will actually move to that studio when it's done.
Right.
All right. Anyway, thanks for watching Board Game Smorgasbord. Thanks to Z and Roy for putting this together. And thanks to Brian for his segment. Until next time, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Z Garcia.
I'm Mike DeLisio.
Have fun eating.